Clips. Sub and bail up. Alrighty, boob tubes. Another one of Kip's clips. Remember, sub, bail up, thumbs it up, all the good stuff. I'm digital busking and all my clips, all free and available. If you enjoy what I do, use the Patreon button down below. You know what to do. Anyway, you may have woke up this morning to the news. Trump claims evidence corona started in Chinese bio-weapon factory. Now, you may notice this is tying in with the a very early narrative coming out from the Truther Industrial Complex, aka Alex Jones and all his gremlins. Now, you could say, ah ha ha, that shows that it's true. Or you could say that maybe it's been part of a concerted effort by a particular group to paint a particular narrative to get the world ready to get onto a war footing against a certain nation whose people might have fucking slanty eyes. China. And I'd like to just... Right, so here's Trump coming out today claiming to have evidence, seen evidence that it might have came out of that bio lab in Wuhan, right? I just put China into my thingy. Clip right now. He was back in January. The coronavirus been used in Trump's war on China. Now, I am never going to be in a position where I will ever know categorically 100% where that virus came from, because I can't do the science myself, and that's pretty much the only person I would trust, because they're all Illuminati. But there's no way me ever absolutely knowing categorically what way. People in power understand that. And what is it they say about politics? It's not about the truth, it's about perception. So, if people perceive this thing came from China, accident, mistake, bio, attack or whatnot, they're going to be happy to turn the thumb screws on China economically. And this is a point I've been making for some time, right? So, there was back late January, the Truther Industrial Complex. Does China really stink? That was the 26th of January. Because you could just know, well, that's obviously when the virus had started in China. And we were getting just painting China like a... Just painting China in a bad light, basically, right? It wasn't like fair reporting. You could clearly see this, and that's what I was pointing at back then. What's that? January 26th. And then even further back on that, I was touching on 5G thing. Now, please bear with me, because if you can bear with my schizophrenic presentation where everything's all over the place, you'll see that I'm joining a couple of dots that are important. Right, let me just try and do it here. Right, so it's pretty self-explanatory right here. 5G, Five Eyes, fear of Huawei in China. Right, if you don't know who the Five Eyes is, let me see if I can... In fact, well, this is worthwhile doing. You're sitting saying to yourself, short clips because everybody will watch it, but no, this is actually worthwhile explaining. Right, the Five Eyes, right, this is the world mass surveillance network that came into place after World War II. The origins of the Five Eyes can be traced back to post-World War II period. Right, now go and do your due diligence on who the Five Eyes are. Australia, Canada, New Zealand, United Kingdom, United States. They all spy on each other's citizens and share that information. And then I would add further afield, they spy on the world as a whole, because if you look how the Five Eyes operate, they were old school. They came from the old telephone spying network, so they used to operate in the bottlenecks, primarily between the Atlantic, because a lot of the wiring bottlenecks between the America and Atlantic run through Britain. which means people from Europe have to use that, which means the Brits could spy on everybody in Europe because they could intercept their communications going through the wire that used to run from Britain to America. But I digress into stuff that is irrelevant here. Just look into who the Five Eyes are, right? Then basically it's the Western military industrial complex, right? It's the intelligence, it's the spy network, it's the intelligence gathering branch of the Western military industrial complex, right? Now put Five Eyes and 5G into your Googles, right? And primarily look at news on this, and what you will see is you'll see right, there we go. If you just go and look through all these, you will see that the Five Eyes are the ones that are warning people that aren't stupid enough to fall for the conspiracy stuff on 5G. They're just coming out and going, here, look, this is a threat against our national security. We shouldn't be giving China, aka Huawei, the ability to beat us to the technology of 5G and roll this all out in our infrastructure. It's going to give China, through Huawei, I don't know how, whether it would put them in par with the Five Eyes or it would make them usurp them or whatever, but it would definitely drag China up in the data gathering field, the ability to spy, because the Huawei infrastructure, like, and I know it sounds like Alex Jones here, but like, this is why the Five Eyes is worried about it. Would no doubt have the ability, if not definitely have backdoors into it that the Chinese government could spy on, just like the Five Eyes used to use their monopoly on a lot of the bottlenecks around the world to spy on the globe before the advent of mobile phone and satellites and stuff, when it was all old school. Anyway, so I know it's all over the place, but please bear with me. So there you have Five Eyes, which I'm just going to call the Western Military Industrial Complex, warning you about how bad 5G is. And then my argument, and now remember the Five Eyes comes from the old Western allies that won World War II, you know, Rule Britannia and brilliant America and all that stuff. Now, that's who the Five Eyes are. That's who they represent, the Western Military Industrial Complex. They're the ones that don't want China overtaking them. And it's obvious if you just read the genuine news about 5G and Huawei rather than the crazy batshit crazy stuff on YouTube. Now, so I'm talking about China and Huawei there, and that being the old school military industrial complex fighting China. Now, I argue that the Truther industrial complex is a branch of the Western military industrial complex. I know it sounds crazy, but if you go and look at who they are and what they represent, it's all patriotic, good old army and all that, boys. Alex Jones, UK column. The UK column actually has like ex-GCHQ guys in it. It has ex-Navy people in it. People from Northern Ireland, all patriots, all fucking staunch Christians. So you can see, I can see where these people are coming from. I can see what flags and what schools they go to and what they represent. And they represent the old American Anglo Alliance, which dominated the world post-World War II for a long time, and who are worried about China's economy surpassing our economy by 2050, and this is them doing something about it. And they're using Corona, wherever it came from, whoever made it, wherever it came from, real pandemic came from, but I don't know. I don't think anybody will ever know, right? Because in war, and that's what I think's happening just now with China, the first casualty is truth, and that's why there is no truth in the information war that Alex Jones is participating in. Let me see if I can see anything here about currency, and then that must be over on my other channel. But anywho, I just wanted to point out that was like back in like January, even like early last year, and everybody will know how much has been going on about the 5G fear and where it's really coming from. So this is all linking in. Now what we've got, I said the other day, is war with China on the cards when the Corona crisis finishes. That was April the 8th, right? So nearly a month ago, 3 weeks ago, call it. Now we have
of what Beijing calls an insufficient response to the coronavirus. That's in stark contrast to what Secretary of State Pompeo believes. He says that China hasn't been transparent since the outbreak began. He also claims Beijing purposely destroyed early samples of the virus.
Now, again, I'm not up here to tell you that China's the good guy, America's the bad guy, either or. I have no idea. I want to point out some things. There's a war and a struggle, an economic war and struggle going on between America and China right now. The war pretty much started as soon as Trump got elected. Why? Because he was elected on the back of one promise going after China. Is anybody surprised this is happening? Pretty much exactly what Trump said. Now, this could end up in kinetic war? I don't know. But there's a currency war and there's a trade war going on with China. That was very open. Trump just done a trade deal with China, a very good trade deal according to him, and then boom shakalaka, for whatever rhyme or reason, this coronavirus comes up, and the blame game starts, and as I said, in war, and there is a war, a struggle, call it economic right now, there's not kinetic. Maybe some would argue it's kinetic in certain areas. Maybe North Korea will be the first kinetic, but who knows. But the writing is on the wall, I would say. The thumb screws are getting turned on China, and I wouldn't want to be in China's position right now, because the West is turning the thumbnails on China now, because the longer they leave it, the harder it's going to be to defeat them. Because the way China's got their economy and they're strengthening their militaries like through the roof, and like they're stealing all the intellectual property apparently, and they're just copying all America's shit and all that, like good commies, you know, like that's a good idea, we're going to use it, you know. No, you need Pierre's money, Lockheed Martin money and all that for that. So they're getting worried about China and the economic predictions where China would have a larger GDP than America by 2020. So now let's fast forward to what Donald Trump is saying this morning.
Anything at this point that gives you a high degree of confidence that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was the origin of this virus?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And I think that the World Health Organization should be ashamed of themselves, because they're like the public relations agency for China. And this country pays them almost $500 million a year, and China pays them $38 million a year.
China.
And whether it's a lot or more, it doesn't matter. It's still, they shouldn't be making excuses when people make horrible mistakes, especially mistakes that are causing hundreds of thousands of people around.
So now Alex Jones will be there. See, I told you Donald Trump's agreeing with me. He's saying it's a bio attack by China. No, he's coming out and painting the narrative. Whether it's true or not, people need to remember this may not be true. I'm not defending China saying that. I am just being honest and saying nobody knows. And we best make our own minds up and don't let likes of Donald Trump, Alex Jones in the UK column tell you this shit, I would argue. But that's hey-ho, I'm crazy.
The world to die. I think the World Health Organization should be ashamed of themselves.
Stop it.
I would say
Stop it.
probably it got out of control. But there's another case that how come they stopped all the planes and all of the traffic from going into China, but they didn't stop the planes and the traffic from coming into the United States and from coming into all over Europe. I mean, look at Italy. Look what happened to Italy. And it's very lucky. This country is very lucky, and I'm very lucky that I put the ban on China. As you know, very early on in January, we put the ban on in China, and that was a very early date. That wasn't a late date. That was an early date. Then we later put the ban on in Europe. And if we didn't do that, as Alex knows, we would have had a problem like you wouldn't have believed. We would have had a problem much bigger. But then you take a look at what happened to Italy. A lot of those people went to Italy instead. And it's been a very, very tough place, Italy.
And then on holding them accountable, is that something you prefer to do now in the next few
No,
weeks?
I don't want to do that. I want to find out what happened. I think we'll be able to get a very good, very powerful definition of exactly what happened. We're working on it strongly now, and I think it's going to be very powerful. But they could have stopped it. They are a very brilliant nation, scientifically and otherwise. It got loose, let's say, and they could have capped it. They could have.
It got loose, let's say. See, it's pure speculation. It's like tabloids, you know. He knows what he's doing here, by the way. He knows what he's doing. Now, again, I'm not pro-Trump, I'm not anti-Trump, I'm just trying to figure out what way is up. And as I'm saying, there is a war going on here, so who knows if it's the Chinas that are telling the truth or if it's Donald Trump. I would argue it's neither of them, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to wait and hear what the overwhelming number of kind of experts say about this stuff, and whether the stuff that Donald Trump uses, because this is all hearsay and conjecture. This is no different from me bouncing up on a YouTube and going, aye, up to, maybe, possibly, it could also be sent down here by Mars. We've got a scientist looking into, maybe it came down in a meteorite, boom, hit somebody on the head, a wee green man jumped out, jumped up that guy's nose, then that guy farted, more wee green men came out, the wee green men ran about, jumped up people's noses, and then the green men implanted themselves in the guy's brain and then sneezed. You know, what he's saying there is no different from what I said. Apart from mine is more apart from, I've got a better track record of fucking telling the truth than Donald Trump. But, apart from that...
Stopped it. But they didn't. But they stopped planes from going to China, but they didn't stop them from going to the rest of the world. What was that all about, Jim?
Just to help us out on this, to follow up
China.
on Gordon's question.
China!
You praised China in the past, so what's changed? When you tweeted, China's been working very hard to contain the coronavirus. The U.S. greatly appreciates their efforts and transparency. It will all work out well. What has changed between then, when you were saying those things about China, and now?
Well, what's changed is the following. We did a trade deal and everybody was very happy. There's nobody ever been tough on China like I've been tough on China. I got elected, at least partially, because of borders and military and different things. But one of the things I'd say is how China and other countries are ripping us off.
Right, now, that's just to try and give this a bit of context. That isn't obviously the full thingy. And press are good at cutting this and making Trump look good or bad, but either way. That's the Sun, which is Rupert Murdoch, I do believe. My memory serves me correct. The Sun is Rupert Murdoch, which I would say would be very much on board with the Trump train. Same clan and all that, you know? Same tribe. I'd imagine they'd be pretty much on the same page. Down with the Chinas. So, is war with China on the cards? It looks like it, man. I'd argue it's happening. This is just... however this virus came into being, right? That's for other people to decide, not me. It's certainly getting used to turn the thumbscrews and trying to damage China economically as much as possible. And wane their growing influence in world institutions such as the WHO. Anyway, alright YouTube, remember our digital busk is all available and accessible, free of charge. We're going to do such a good job, you'll find value in what I do and use your spare change, not your life savings, in the Patreon and PayPal buttons down below. And a mega thanks to those who do. Thumbs it up, share it with your friends, family, foes, help the channel and the show grow. Alrighty, boob tubes. Join tonight for See Through the Fear Porn Friday. Hopefully going to try and do it on Zoom, but the Skype will be open as well. And I'm brilliant at jiggling the handles. So Skype, Zoom, WhatsApp tonight. See Through the Fear Porn Friday. It'll be on from 8 to 9, a short one tonight, because I need to see man about a dog later on, I think. Anyway, alrighty, boob tubes, have a good one. Catchies. Keeps clear.